This story is based on a real-life incident. Security footage caught his final moments, but not the killer, and that's what makes the death of 28-year-old Brian Collister one of the most confounding and disturbing cold cases in Pennsylvania history, a case that has defied logic, digital forensics, and even the most advanced frame-by-frame video reconstruction tools, all while leaving behind a trail of inexplicable phenomena and a growing theory among investigators that whatever took Brian that night was not entirely human, or at the very least, not something that obeys the normal rules of visibility, time, or space. Brian was a night shift manager at a small 24-hour self-storage facility just outside Allentown, and on the night of April 9, 2023, he had taken his usual thermos of coffee, plugged in his laptop, and activated the surveillance system that covered all 14 rows of storage units. Along with the single entrance gate and the front office, the facility had motion-activated infrared security cameras with redundant local backups and a cloud sync updated every 5 seconds. All standard until what happened at 2:41 a.m. when the entire system captured Brian calmly walking down the main corridor of units, checking latches, flashlight in hand, when he suddenly froze in place, turned his head slightly as if hearing something, and then stepped backward into the frame of Unit 113, a row with no power outlets, no visible entryways, and no open doors at that time. He stood there motionless for exactly 18 seconds, breathing visible in the cool spring air, flashlight beam steady on the ground, until his body jerked forward violently as if pulled by an invisible force, his feet dragging slightly, and vanished from the frame completely, not around a corner, not into a unit, just gone. His flashlight clattering to the concrete and rolling into view while still on, the beam flickering and pointing at nothing. What's more disturbing is that the moment Brian disappeared, the video feed didn't freeze, glitch, or distort. The footage remained clean. The camera never blinked, and yet not a single frame contains any visual evidence of another person, shadow, animal, or disturbance capable of removing a grown man in less than a second. Investigators arrived within the hour after the system's auto-ping triggered a missing personnel alert, and they found the facility untouched, gates locked, no break-ins, no evidence of forced entry or exit, and most importantly, Unit 113 was still sealed from the outside, lock undisturbed, and the interior filled with only decades-old storage furniture covered in dust, with no sign of Brian or anything unusual. The digital analysts pulled all available data, including the raw footage, which they slowed down to 480 by frame rate, analyzed pixel by pixel, and found that exactly 3 frames before Brian disappears, the light in his flashlight bends upward, unnaturally, as if warped by heat or passing through water, even though the temperature was a consistent 47 degrees Fahrenheit with no environmental anomalies. Audio from the scene, captured via Brian's body mic synced to the central hub, revealed a low, barely audible hum starting 3 minutes before his disappearance, growing in volume until it reached a tonal frequency resembling human speech. Though heavily layered and reversed when decoded and reversed through multiple audio filters, the phrase heard was, "I never left," followed by a click and a whisper that investigators still argue sounds like Brian saying, "There's no shadow," just seconds before the mic went dead. Weeks later, forensics discovered that the internal clock of the CCTV system in Corridor 7, where Brian disappeared, had silently desensed by exactly 43 minutes, a change that went unnoticed by the system's built-in alerts and remained off by that margin for the next 6 days, even though the rest of the facility's clocks remained correct. Even more chilling was the discovery of a handwritten note in Brian's apartment, tucked inside a drawer he never used, dated 5 days before the incident, reading, "If something ever happens, check Unit 113, not what's in it, but what watches through it." written in Brian's unmistakable handwriting and followed by a series of symbols resembling overlapping circles, later matched to petroglyphs found in caves over 1,000 miles away in a region with no known connection to him. Further investigation into Unit 113's history revealed that it had been leased only once, back in 1996, by a man named Elias Roque, who disappeared 6 months later under similarly unexplained circumstances, his last known location logged by a payphone near the facility where a 911 call was placed but never completed, ending instead in a burst of static almost identical in waveform to the background hum in Brian's final audio. Since the incident, employees working night shifts at the storage facility have reported strange occurrences, camera feeds momentarily looping the same 10 seconds with no cause, lights turning on in sealed units, and most notably, the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps in rows that show no heat signatures on thermal imaging. The facility has since closed Corridor 7 to all employees, citing structural instability, and replaced every camera and sensor twice, yet each new system reports random frame desyncs only near Unit 113, no matter the make or model. And while Brian's body has never been found, and the footage remains the only known documentation of his disappearance, one final anomaly continues to disturb those who study the case. Exactly 41 days after the incident, a new video file auto-uploaded to the facility's cloud server, a file that did not exist before, had no known source, and was simply titled Return. It was 24 seconds long and showed a looped shot of Corridor 7 with no one in frame, except for one moment, halfway through, where for exactly 1.4 seconds, a tall, featureless silhouette stands at the far end of the hallway, not moving, not walking, just standing, and though its features were indiscernible, digital enhancement revealed a single patch of brightness where its chest would be, the reflection of a flashlight held inward.